You just tuned in for the latest transmission of Rice Against the Grain. Part number 2, if you can't handle my truth, give me a 5x5 if you can hear me loud and clear. We're going to get started in just moments. If you're watching on replay, fast forward to about the 4-minute, 20-second mark. Be sure to smash that like button and make sure you are subscribed here at Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Thank you for tuning in for today's live stream. This is part number 2. If you have not caught part number 1, definitely encourage you to do so. It is a long one. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes long, but there's a lot of information. Shared a lot of information. I'm going to be sharing a lot of information on today's show. I do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We are live streaming here on Rice Against the Grain YouTube channel, as well as the Rice TVX Rumble channel as well. Shout out to those that are watching on Rumble. I will be coming as much as I can to check out the live chat in Rumble. It does not aggregate, unfortunately, over here to StreamYard. But I will be checking the comments. We're going to get things started here in just moments. Before we get into it, take time to visit my website at ricetvx.com. There you can sign up for my mailing list so you can stay up to date on all things Rice. Once you've signed up for my mailing list, you will find links for my channels and socials towards the top of the website. Make sure you are subscribed to both of my YouTube channels, Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX. If you want to support my work directly, as well as get early access, exclusive content for both channels, plus more, join my Patreon. All right, thank you so much for tuning in for today's live stream. Before we begin, like I said, fast forward to about the 4-minute, 20-second mark, and that gives me a few seconds, but I'm going to go ahead and take a little opportunity. If you would like to promote, or excuse me, if you would like to support the channel, if you would like to support Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX, and look out for yourself by stocking up on some non-perishable food, over 2,000 calories a day with a 25-year shelf life. Take advantage of my partnership with My Patriot Supply. I'm going to have some information scrolling across the bottom of the screen so that you guys can take advantage. Visit prepwithrice.com. Prepwithrice.com to take advantage of these special deals. Right now, they are offering up, and this changes every month. So for the remainder of this month and maybe for the few days into the next month, right now, over at prepwithrice.com, you can get a 3-month emergency food kit plus an Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system free, which is a $279 value. You can get all that for $797, just rounded up to about $800. Normally, it's closer to $1,100, but you can get this deal today at prepwithrice.com for $797. You get that Alexa Pure water filtration system, and you get 3-month emergency food supply. There's also a 2-week emergency food supply that is going for $127, and these are additional ways that you can support the channel, and it would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so before we get into everything that we're going to be talking about in today's video, again, make sure you check out part 1. I know it's long. I had a lot to cover, and I didn't cover everything that I wanted to cover, so we're going to do that today. I'm going to be doing a summary probably in a couple days. I may be doing it on Wednesday, possibly Thursday, but I will be doing a summary this week. I want to try to keep it to under an hour. But I think this information is very relevant. I've had a few people comment to me saying that if you haven't done any of these methods yourself, how can you be telling people what they should and shouldn't stay away from or look into? And what I have to say about that is there is this amazing thing that many of us have been gifted with, but we don't use it. It's called critical thinking. If you actually look at things for what they are without having to go through methods, you can find the blemishes, the bullshit, the lies that are mixed in with the truth. So before we begin, the only thing I want to rehash on is this, and then we're going to get into all the people that I've interviewed. Please take time to smash that like button if you haven't already. I will come to the live chat in a few minutes. Once I start going through the people that I'm going to be talking about, I'm not going to be paying as much attention to the live chat because it takes away time for me communicating the message that I'm trying to communicate. I will at some point make sure that I do come back to the live chat, but it won't be as frequently as I was doing last time. And again, you guys need to check out that episode. 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I was standing up the entire time, just like I'm standing up today, getting ready to roll up my sleeves because we're getting ready to do some dirty work. So what I wanted to talk about, one, is a disclaimer that I put at the beginning of my video. Some of you may not pay attention to it because a lot of people don't pay attention to things. But check this out. This disclaimer says, this video is for entertainment purposes only. None of this information is to be viewed as or used as financial advice or legal advice in any way. I encourage everyone to DYOR, do your own research, to make better educated decisions and choices. And this is the most important part. If someone is a guest or appears on my channel or I cover a project, it does not mean that I endorse, support, or agree with them, what they communicate, or what their message is. I am in the process of learning and want to explore every perspective I can. This is how we progress and grow. Be the change, practice change. So get that out of the way. Just because somebody's on my channel doesn't mean I support or endorse them. Get that out of the way real quick. These are the few things that I'm going to rehash from the last video, and then we're going to get straight into the people I've interviewed. Let me go ahead and give a quick shout out to everybody that has joined us on today's live stream, which I greatly appreciate. Dime Bar, thanks for tuning in. David Williams at the Dawn. We'll be talking about David Williams today. He is somebody that I definitely like a lot, but he definitely doesn't agree with a lot of the legal fiction. Fred Mitchell, thanks for tuning in. Quick Mithril, thanks for becoming a patron. I got your message. I will respond back to you. I've just had to take yesterday off. Quadrilyn Thomas, good seeing you. Good seeing you. Thanks for tuning in. Cheryl Williams, good seeing you. Good seeing you and good seeing everybody. Lone Wolf, can't catch on Yay through the computer today. Apple works. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for tuning in. I did get your messages. We will be in touch soon. I do appreciate you reaching out, Lone Wolf. Cheryl Williams, hey Chris, hope all is well. It's been a minute. We'll go back and view part 1. Thank you. I appreciate. Prophet Bear, good to see you in the house. Joseph Smith is with us. Mr. Onyx at 99, also called discernment. I love discernment. We're going to be talking about discernment because, discernment is so important. John Hodge, you got a Facebook account? If so, I will send you my straw man or how many different companies are trading me. It's got no personal information on it, so anyone can see it. You can email me, John. That's what I would greatly appreciate is if you email me. My information is in the video description. I'll throw it up on the top of the screen. My email is right here. I'll take a minute while this is up and promote my website that's being built. If you would like to get lifetime access to my website, my private website, because I'm going to be operating a lot more in the private, and we'll be talking about that. I'm doing a fundraiser. 50 people will get lifetime access and a special swag bag of Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX swag for only $100. You can email ricemediagroup@protonmail.com. If you have any suggestions for people that you would like for me to check out and interview, you can also email me at ricemediagroup@protonmail.com. There are less than 10 spots left. I've had 4 people that have messaged me that I will be emailing back this evening. The swag bag will include stickers, a pin, some other promotional items, these really cool patches. This is a Rice TVX patch. The blue glows in the dark. The red on the Rice Against the Grain does not. They have Velcro backing, so you can stick them onto things that have Velcro, like backpacks, bulletproof vests, anything that you might have, a hat that may have Velcro. These are really cool, the 3D textured. So that will be included for the 50 different people that take advantage of the fundraiser. Less than 10 spots left. Email me at ricemediagroup@protonmail.com. John, you can email me at that address. That is John Hodge. Email me there. And anybody who wants to make suggestions, feel free to email there as well. If you have anything that you want to share about any of the teachers that I talk about on today's video, or even somebody that I don't talk about, or that I talked about in part 1, please share that in the comments section after the live stream, because it's really important that we try to look out for one another, to not waste their time with people that ultimately aren't going to help them with the end goal that they are wanting to achieve. And again, how can I say what is and what isn't right if I haven't applied any of these methods to myself? Again, critical thinking, and then I will add what was added earlier, discernment. Mr. Onyx99 said that critical thinking and discernment allows you to see through bullshit, allows you to see through lies. And it is something that I am working on, getting closer in my spiritual walk so that I'm more in tune, because I definitely feel like I've gotten off path. All of this comes down to, when I go down all these different rabbit holes, I realize, and I've said this before, no matter what subject you're searching, when you go down rabbit holes, you start to realize these rabbit holes are interconnected. And then you realize it's just one big rabbit hole. And when you try to figure out the root of the problem of that rabbit hole, it all comes down to spiritual warfare. That is what we are dealing with right now. It's in the book of Ephesians in the New Testament of the Bible. I think it's Ephesians 6:10-20, talks about the armor of God. Definitely, we are in wicked times, and all this boils down to spiritual warfare. So there are different types of people that are interested in learning legal fiction. These are the few things that I'm rehashing. Then we're going to get right into what we're talking about on today's video. I thought I had my phone on silent. Okay. Again, if you guys haven't taken time to smash that like button, I would certainly greatly appreciate if you would take time to do so. All right, I shouldn't have any more distractions happening at this point. So there are different types of people that are interested in learning about this law, legal fiction stuff. One, there are those that are in some sort of legal trouble and some sort of trouble with the law. Two, they're dealing with Child Protective Services issues, CPS, whether their fault or not their fault, CPS issues. 3, people that are greedy, trying to get something for nothing, that are just trying to access trust accounts, thinking that they're going to have unlimited access to funds. And 4, there are those that are genuinely interested in learning for the sake of learning and are willing to put it into work. Because if you really are going to be on this path, it is a narrow path and it does require work. A template, cookie cutter system is not going to work, because you're not going to be able to communicate what is known on that paperwork if that's the method you go by. You need to know everything that's written on these pieces of paper that you're saying is showing your sovereignty in whatever method that you're trying to take. You need to be able to verbally communicate that. You need to know that information. You need to be able to live that information. That piece of paper is really just kind of like a way of saying that you live it. But if you have that piece of paper and you can't back up any of the things that are written, if you don't understand and fully comprehend this entire situation and what you're trying to undo, those pieces of paper, your template system, your cookie cutter system is not going to be effective at all. And there's a lot of teacher gurus that are teaching and selling just that, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm going to be changing how I operate moving forward. I'm going to be doing a vetting process with people because now I'm going to be going over all the people that I've interviewed, whether I still endorse them or not, and why. So I'm going through a vetting process with people. I'm going to be operating a lot more in the private versus the public, and things will be released more in the private before I release them if they are deemed to be released publicly. So that's where I encourage people to join my fundraiser. And I'm also going to be cautious about entities that are charging unless they're vetted properly. Now, I mentioned this before, something like Dr. Dr. Frederick Graves' Jurisdictionary, How to Win in Court series. His course is inexpensive. It doesn't offer hopium. It's not a template system. It's not a cookie cutter system. It's an educational system where you learn how to operate and fully comprehend how courts work. It is a course that tells you how you can win in court, but it doesn't give you 100%. You have to be able to apply the things that you're learning. Those are the only things that I will be sharing publicly, is something like the How to Win in Court course. Other than that, if people are charging for their services for a PMA, a PCA, or whatever the situation might be, those interviews will remain in the private. And I always encourage people to use their discretion, do your own research, use discernment, use critical thinking before you pay money to anybody for any reason, for anything, myself included. All right. It's going to change up a little bit of the information, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So regarding teachers and gurus, I believe there's a lot that are controlled opposition that are teaching wrong information purposefully, truth mixed with lies, full deception. Whether or not these individuals got in some sort of legal trouble and this is their way of getting out of it, mixing lies with truth and putting it out there. There's several individuals I would put in that category. David Straight, somebody who I have not interviewed, but I have had communication with, who I was supposed to interview several times, who now doesn't want to communicate with me or do an interview with me since I'm calling him out on the fact that he was never in the military, never a Navy SEAL, talks about protecting children from CPS, but yet his own daughter, I don't know if she still actively has her felony warrant for child abuse out right now currently, but I did talk about all that on part 1. So you could check out part 1 to get that idea. But I would put David Straits, possibly even Anna von Reitz, maybe Russell J. Gould in that category of those who are controlled opposition, those that are teaching wrong information purposefully. They're mixing truth with lies because that is the easiest way to get people to be fooled, is mixing truth with lies. Then there's those with ego that doesn't allow them to be wrong, doesn't allow them to be open to new ideas or working with others or together with people. 3, there are those with ulterior motives to gain monetarily and no proof or evidence of their claims. And I would put Matrix Freedom in that category, Mr. Ian Clifford Stamp. I'll come back to these individuals that I've interviewed. Then there are those who legit don't know their information is wrong. They just think that what they're doing is correct, and it's because they don't practice what they preach. They don't actually go out and apply these methods, but yet they try to sell these methods or get you to join some sort of membership, PMA, or whatever the situation might be. Or they vicariously learn from their students, where these individuals don't actually do things themselves, but they communicate with their students who are going to court so that they can learn through their students, but they're not actually doing the things themselves. All the ones that I just mentioned, if they cared about real sovereignty, if they really cared about freedom, if they cared about me, if they cared about you, if they loved other people, they would work together. They would be open to suggestions, open to new ideas, open to the idea that they may be wrong. So with that said, then there are those who are open to new information, admitting that they might be wrong, that are willing to work with others for the greater good. Someone like KL is someone that I would put in that category. My friend Stan Barabbas, I would put in that category. Dime Bar, who's moderating today's chat, I would put in that category. Okay, so that's kind of summarizing a little bit of that. I want to go ahead and come back to the live chat, see what everybody has to say, and we're going to go ahead and continue on. I'm going to have some information on the screen if you're interested in winning 10 ounces of silver by making a purchase on moneymetals.com by the end of the month. Actually, let me fix this real quick. All right. Because this is my new partnership with moneymetals.com. You can enter to win 10 ounces of silver by making a purchase, any purchase on Money Metals by the end of the month, monthly winners. And you've got to use this. There's going to be 3 monthly winners every month that'll win 10 ounces of silver each. To enter to win, just make any purchase on moneymetals.com/rice. Moneymetals.com/rice. You got to use that specific link when you make your purchase to be entered to win 10 ounces of silver. And right now, at this time, looking at the price of silver, and we'll head over to moneymetals.com real quick. We're looking at about $25.44 an ounce. So that's over $250 for those 10 ounces of silver. You have like 6 days left this month to be able to enter to win. I ended up announcing it late, so you're going to have a better chance this month than you may have on future months to ahead. But take advantage of that partnership. Let me go ahead and see what everybody has to say, and then we're going to continue on. I did get a super chat, which I'm seeing, and I really appreciate that super chat. Really appreciate those that could take the time and can afford to support the channel. Those that can't monetarily support the channel, just sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing, those things definitely help as well. Peter Wu, it's good to see you in the house. B. Chad. Quick Mithril, we started, but the video didn't autoplay. I had to refresh. Okay. I do the idea of another backup channel should be Dirty Rice. Dirty White Fried Rice. Yeah, I don't know if I want to keep creating backup channels. I've got Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain, and then I'm on Rumble, I'm on Odyssey, and I'm on BitChute. Rumble, there is a Rice Against the Grain channel and a Rice TVX channel. I just don't really promote the Rice Against the Grain because I put all those videos on Rice TVX. Cameron says, if you follow the yellow brick road, it will lead you to the man of straw. If I only had a brain. It definitely requires work. Global Rug, I would love to see an interview with Yusuf L. and Cal Washington as UCC has codified merchant law. They are speaking the same thing, but use different angles. I haven't really talked to Cal recently in regards to anything UCC related. So I don't have anything negative to say about Cal. I'll be talking about Cal when I go over the interviews that I've done. And thank you for promoting that link, Mr. Dime Bar. If you guys would like to support the channel and also get access to the How to Win in Court course, make sure you're using this link with my referral code, and it is a way to support the channel as well. Wolf Shield vetting process should be at a minimum 6 months, starting from the day you started filing paperwork, not the day you started studying the information. Wolf Shield, I appreciate you giving me your opinion. I encourage you, you seem to be very, very opinionated, which I appreciate. Maybe you should start your own channel and start trying to wake people up to this information as well. But I definitely appreciate your opinion. QM said had to file a motion to delay a court appearance because I had no money for a lawyer, but he could not write it for me since I would not indicate I could pay him. It seemed complex, but was easy once I learned. Yeah, law is not complicated once you take the time to actually learn and read books and try to figure out what some of these things actually mean. So shout out to you, QM, Quick Mithril. Peter Will, I appreciate you taking time to join. It's good to see you come back. Let me see here. Prophet Bear, thank you so much, my friend. I want to see you interview Owen Benjamin. I believe if we seed faith in God through sacrifice for each other in love, we can break out of the system. We don't have to change status, just change your mind. I wonder if these guys are the false prophets tricking the sovereign. Interesting. Yeah. When it comes to status correction, I will cover that in a little bit more detail, but I don't think that the way that most people think of status correction is the way that we are to correct our status. Prior to the 14th Amendment and the creation of the United States citizenship, there was no status. People might have been referred to as American citizens. Some people might have been referred to as state citizens, but you were both a state citizen and a U.S. citizen as of the 14th Amendment. And I'll be bringing on more guests that are going to be talk about this. You guys can check out a really awesome channel on Odyssey. It's called Freedom Law School. I want to be interviewing the founder very soon. So I encourage you to check out the Freedom Law School channel. As a matter of fact, what I will do, I will head over to my Rumble here and I will pull up the information so you guys can see. It's spelled just like it sounds. I know it's crazy. Freedom Law School. There's a really good video here. Different links for people who want to take time to actually learn more. There's a live version, there's the full version, and the short version. Are you a state national? And so you don't need to file and pay income taxes? And there's more videos like this. Payman has actually studied the legal fiction stuff back in the 90s, back when the state citizenship movement was going on. A lot of you people who are learning from Lana Von Reitz and David Straight and things like that, they're just rehashing old information. Back in the 90s, we saw what they refer to when you start hearing people talk about sovereign citizen, and I know people are going to say that's an oxymoron, but either way, when you hear the term sovereign citizen and you hear the term free man on the land, those were terms that were used in the 90s. So all of this stuff has been rehashed. There is nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. Let's see here. There is some information scrolling at the bottom of the screen for my Patreon channel. Once the website that I'm having built is complete, I will give a 60 to 90-day notice of terminating my Patreon channel. But if you still would like to get early access and exclusive videos and you can't afford to do the fundraiser, you can join Patreon. But I would only encourage you to do it on a month-to-month basis. Do not pay for more than a month at a time. Profit Bear, thank you so much. You have my email. If you could you send this information to me in an email as well so I can make sure I remember this? I did write down Owen Benjamin's name, or I'm writing it down, excuse me. And I've got a notebook full of words, full of a bunch of notes. I can't 100% say that this is going to make sure it comes back and clicks. Please email me this information, Profit Bear. Whether it's email or whether it was Telegram. I can't remember where we were communicating, but I'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much for the support, my friend. Thanks for sharing that link, my friend. Yellow Cake Maker, awesome. Dime Bar, awesome. He's banned everywhere. Well, maybe the interview will have to happen in the private or on Rumble. I have to figure out more about this gentleman, but I'm hearing good things. So yeah, I'd like to check them out. Please send me some information. Dime, kind of send me a message on Telegram to remind me if you don't mind. All good, my friend. All good. Okay. Ask a judge, magistrate, or do you swear more than one oath? It's a showstopper. They close the court immediately. Interesting. Status correction is by becoming the administrator of all your affairs, private and public. By your action, you correct a status. Well said, Cameron. And that has nothing to do with shedding your U.S. citizenship. You can if that makes you feel better. I'm going to be interviewing somebody that's going to be talking more about that as well. You know, one of the things that Payman from Freedom Law School talks about is U.S. code. So a lot of these individuals are citing U.S. code for their status correction. Now, if you're going to use U.S. code for status correction, are you really doing status correction? Really appreciate your realness. 2 years in North Carolina, state prisons, and 5 in Fed. I had to start learning this stuff a long time ago. I've been watching you when I can for years now. Man, I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate you being honest, man, with everything. Are you still in North Carolina, Global Rug Agents? And I did like a little stint, like 6 months in prison, 6.5 months for violating probation for a DUI. Unfortunately, but that's been years ago, and I've been on my path of practice change ever since. So shout out to you, Global Rugged Agents, and let me know if you're still in North Carolina. You saw my email flashing across the screen. You can find me on Telegram at RiceTVX. I don't know why I had a brain fart there, and it's only one X. It's just those letters, RICETVX. That's 7 letters. There's no additional X's. There's no underscores. There's plenty of scammers on Telegram, so beware. Emily, I greatly appreciate. Send me an email if you don't mind. I may be offering up some additional memberships, lifetime memberships, but yeah, I may be, but it won't include the swag bags. So I will be changing up once I get past the 50 people for the fundraiser and get the website built. I may be offering up some additional lifetime memberships that will be different than the fundraiser. I'm not definitely going to be doing the same thing. But Emily, if you could send me an email, I'd greatly appreciate that. Rice Media Group at protonmail.com. And excuse me, it's in the video description, and I've had it scrolling across the screen a little bit. Tell you what I will do. I'll change up the information right now on the screen for my lifetime access for my private website, and it has my email address right there that you can check out. If you guys are enjoying this video, please take time to smash that like button. I do appreciate everybody taking the time to participate. I'm going to be talking about Christopher James and a warrior cause when I go through the videos, so just bear with me. I just wanted to check the chat real quick. Last time I watched your show, you had this guy on and reminded me of John C. Riley from Step Bros. He was drinking and smoking law. I think you guys are talking about trading or finances. I don't know if you're talking about Pimpy and if you're talking about Rice TVX. I'm not really sure which video, but thanks for sharing that, my friend. Wake Forest. Interesting. I'm in Winston-Salem, which has Wake Forest University. Definitely email me. You see the information scrolling at the bottom of the screen, Global Rug Agent. I'm going to be doing some local meetups. So if you're interested, maybe coming out to Winston, I think that you're like an hour-ish away, if I'm not mistaken. I can update you as to when I start doing that. Exactly. You can't use U.S. code for status correction. You shouldn't. Dean Clifford's opinion on common law is the muster point. Not really sure what the muster point is, but I have mad respect for Dean Clifford. He's been on the show several times. I'm going to be reposting the interviews with him really soon. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it was Pimpy. His new channel, Pimpy's new channel, is called The Other Side of Things. Hey, Ronnie. Missed your notification? Did you get the notification, or did you just miss it? So, okay. All right. So now let me go ahead and do a screen share. Right now, I am on Rice Against the Grains playlist section. This is my law legal studies playlist. To remind people, to update people, I went to go visit KL, Mr. Beneficiary. I went to go visit him a few weeks ago, the end of March. I also spoke at Truth Tour 3 in St. Petersburg. I am going to be following KL's method. On the last video in part 1, I talked about some of the teachers that KL recommends. There's also a exclusive video on Patreon and available for private members with KL that talks about some of the teachers and such that he's learned from, because he's been in this space learning since the 90s as well, which is why he has a really different take on this. But I am following KL's method. KL has cancer, a return of cancer for the second time, unfortunately. So if you guys are spiritual or religious people, please send prayers to KL and his family. Send some positive energy and vibes his way. I know he could definitely use it. We wanted to make sure we have his methods recorded privately. As of now, those private recordings, aside from the exclusive half-hour video that's available on Patreon and for private members, all the private teachings are going to remain private until KL tells me otherwise. So do not send me an email asking me if you can get access to the videos that I recorded when I went down to visit KL, because they are not going to be released publicly in any fashion, in any way, period. And when they are going to be released, if KL wants them to be, it's going to be done in the fashion that KL wants to do, which we will agree upon. And at that time, I will share with people what's happening. But I am going to be following KL's method. I've ordered copies of my short form and long form birth certificates. They should be here in another 4 weeks based off when I ordered them. I'm going to be doing a DBA, doing business as a name change, which I will be explaining to people more, because this is stuff that KL has taught for free. I do have a playlist with all of KL's videos on Odyssey. This is linked in the video description. This includes the very original lessons that I did with KL 2 years ago. Lesson 1 and lesson 2 that are broken up into 2 parts each. So 4 videos for my original lessons with KL. In lessons 2 is when we talk about the DBA and name change. And then here are the 3 newest lessons with KL. He's going to require that you watch all of these videos that he's done with myself and with Crow777 before you even proceed with moving forward for learning from him. And he does teach privately. He does charge. And I have vetted his stuff. I am following the process. I've talked to many of his students. Many of his students are viewers of the channel, and they appreciate the information. They've shared their experiences with KL. So I can't say enough. I really can't say enough. So this KL playlist. I'm also going to be filling out the passport for my passport, but I'm not calling it a state citizen passport. What I'm doing is following this method with some alterations that KL has given me. Once I'm able to complete this and I see how everything goes, I will share the information with the changes that KL has given me. But I am not recommending to anybody just follow this method just like it is, just like this, and expect to be a state citizen. This is not why I'm doing it. I need to get a passport. I'm going to be filling out for the passport using most of the directions from this method with changes that KL has given me. So that's what I'm doing. Once I get all that done, I will proceed to the next step. But I am not one of those that are having any legal situations, any law troubles. I don't have any CPS issues. I'm not greedy trying to get access to some trust account. I'm genuinely interested in learning for the sake of learning, for the sake of my sovereignty. And I'm willing to put in the work, and I'm willing to take my time, and I'm willing to do it right. And I think that's one of the smartest things that we can do. Now, I'm not going to say much about this website. I didn't say much about it on the last video, but I definitely want you guys to check out this website, and I encourage you guys to check out these books. The very minimum, volume 1 of Art of the Passing Buck, it's like $60. I just recently got it. I've heard great things about the individuals that have written this and what these individuals are doing. Check out passingbucks.com. This is also in the video description. Now, before we get too deep into it, I wanted to share a few things. I did mention that if you are learning about this from other teachers, please, whether on part 1 or part 2, please comment on the videos sharing your experiences with some of these teachers and gurus, whether they're positive or whether they're negative. But don't shill. Don't come in here and try to sell someone's service. Just share your own personal experience. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'm sure others would as well. This is comments from part number 1 that I did a few days ago. Had some really nice comments. The one that I really want people to pay attention to is at Sitting Kitty Colorado. At Sitting Kitty Colorado. And it's about their experiences. I'm not sure if this is a guy or girl, but it's about their experiences dealing with Anna von rights and American States Assembly. So I would encourage you to check that out. It's a lengthy comment. There's additional information. It's a very lengthy comment. So if you have fallen down the Anna von rights rabbit hole, the American States Assembly rabbit hole. Definitely check out the comment section on part 1 of this video. And if you have anything to share, please do so. Okay, so let me see. Before I go over, there's a few people whose videos can no longer be found because I have deleted them in every capacity. So I will let people know to be another part of repetitious. I do not in any way support or endorse the following individuals. Let's make it clear. Okay. I, Chris Rice, host of Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX, do not endorse or support the following individuals. With that being said, it doesn't mean that you can't learn something, because these individuals like to mix lies with truth. If you're someone who uses critical thinking and has discernment, then you can sift through the lies for the truth. If that's not you, then just stay away. Russell J. Gould, who I call Fool's Gould, and the Quantum Grammar. David Straight, and I think his thing is called statenationals.us or something like that. I put him in a category of controlled opposition, is also a fraud and a liar, and I talk about that on part 1. So if you want to learn about the bullshit of David Straight, check out part 1. The other individual is Ian Clifford Stamp from Matrix Freedom. Watch part 1 of this series and check out the video that I mentioned on Rumble or Odyssey or BitChute with Simone Marshall from Empower the People. She was formerly involved with Freedom, Matrix Freedom, and she shares a lot of information. I got to be careful not to share certain things because Ian did have the first video, that video taken down off of Rice Against the Grain YouTube channel, which I shared on part 1. He's not the first individual in the law space who wants to attack my channel and have videos removed because they're just butthurt about people talking negatively about them. They can't defend themselves, so they just try to get anything negative taken off, and that includes Russell J. Gould. One that I didn't mention last time is Darren Clifford, Dean Clifford's brother. Love Dean. Love the hell out of Dean. Darren, I don't care for him. I don't care for Darren nor his handler, whatever her name is. And I don't suggest or recommend Divergent or Divergent 5 or DI5 or whatever they want to call themselves. The other one that I did mention that I do not support or endorse is Robert Michael from House of whatever it's called today, because he changes it so frequently. Robert Michael could not get out of a simple misdemeanor traffic violation ticket that he was saying that he was going to use as an example to show how superior his knowledge of law and the legal system is. Ultimately ended up being found guilty and did 2 weeks in jail. He also had made agreements with me to help me with forming an unincorporated association, which is the same thing as like a nonprofit, but not registering as a government entity. And also was looking for his information for the trust that he creates, or he says he creates, and some information about the private membership association. I did share in the last video where he decided that, and he admitted where it was an agreement that we had made. It wasn't an initial agreement that we made, but as we became friends, it was an agreement that we made that he would provide this information to me because he was able to make a pretty decent income off the individuals watching our interviews that wanted to learn from him. But ultimately, Robert Michael is just, ego is one of his problems, but he takes his information from this guy, Ken Cousins, who I spoke about on part 1. Part 1, I talk about some individuals that I recommend that you check out that I have not interviewed, that I hear great things about, but I always encourage people to do the research before paying for people's services. Ken Cousins with Gemstone University and Pantera PCA. Yusuf L with High Frequency Radio, SPC University. Justinian Deception, Romley Stewart. These are just a few that I had recommended that people check out. But I want to make it very clear I do not support or endorse Russell J. Gould, David Straight, Ian Clifford Stamp from Matrix Freedom, Robert Michael, Anna Von Reitz, Darren Clifford from Divergent, because these individuals do not remain or act in honor. And it is imperative, if you're going to be in this space, that you remain and you act in honor. And again, this is why I had to do a vetting process, because I've interviewed Darren Clifford. I've interviewed Anna Von Reitz several times. I've interviewed Robert Michael several times. I interviewed Ian Clifford Stamp several times. I've had communication with David Straight since late 2020, shared many of those text messages. Russell J. Gould interviewed several times and have been having an ongoing battle with him. This is just ridiculous, the things that I got to deal with not having vetted these individuals before I brought them on my channel. And there's a lot of channels out there that are not vetting people, that are bringing on people that are harmful to others, and they definitely need to be a little bit more responsible about what they're doing. Okay, so we're going to go over the teachers in just a minute. We got a lot of live comments. I appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you got that. Hopefully I answered your question. Cool. Yes. Answer your question. Question answer. Awesome. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm looking at the chat late, it's really hard to talk, stay on track, and look at comments and try to highlight them as well. So I apologize. I want to go ahead and see what's going on over here. Rumble. Quick Mithril's over there, but Quick is also in the chat as well on here, I believe, and on YouTube. Okay. Scrolling down. No, I mean, I don't support Kim Gogan, but those videos are pretty entertaining. So they are on Rice Against the Grain. I am reposting videos. I took down all the Stranger Than Fiction content from Rice TVX, and I'm going to be re-uploading most of them on Rice Against the Grain, not all of them. What's going on, Stanley? It's good seeing you in your house, my friend. She has a similar-ish view to, I wouldn't even put her and Jason Brashears from Archaics in any sort of sentence together, man. I will be talking about Miss BB Backus because she is somebody that I've interviewed, and I'm about to do that. Yeah, I was talking about Robert Michael, Cheryl, and I've been trying to be very vocal about telling people to stay away from his work. If you want to learn something to that effect, check out Gemstone University and Pam Terra PCA with Ken Cousins. I'm going to try to get him on the show very soon. QM was banned from Kim's channel for asking about the kangaroo skin treaty. Colin Master, that's one of the names that me and Pimpy have came up with for Fool's Gold. I'm not familiar with Phil Godlewski, unfortunately, Peter, but thanks for asking. There's a lot of people out there teaching. If I haven't heard of them, either they're doing a good job being private or they're not teaching good information. Colin Cleans Master. It's a very complex topic. It should take about 3 years to get to the point where you should begin to wrap around your head around all this. It takes a little bit because it's after all the interviews and stuff I did and taking a little break from burnout. It's been about 3 years. Yes, when I mentioned Russell J. Gould and quantum grammar, anybody that's included in that teaches quantum grammar or who calls themselves a postmaster, colon master, semicolon master, whatever the situation might be, Mark Krishan Christopher is definitely in the same category as Russell J. Gould. I would just call him one of the Fool's Gould clones. I really don't want to make this a 2.5 hour live stream. Good seeing you, my friend. Mark Passy has good people, but he doesn't teach people about the legal fiction. He teaches people about natural law. And I think he is in my legal fiction playlist because of the natural law stuff. So here in a moment, I will be covering him. Pimpy is the postmaster of the universe. always go to the top. Always, always, always. Cheryl, at Dime, I spent $600 altogether for his seminar in Grass Valley. Luckily, I didn't spend a dime on his paperwork, for he didn't provide me any new information. No, I mean, he's just selling regurgitated information, Cheryl. It's unfortunate. And I was starting to have problems with him around that time period that you went there. I shared my text messages with Robert Michael on part one. Part one is like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Right now, we're at 51 minutes for part two. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in to the interviews that I've done. I've covered the people I don't support and why, and I did cover that a little bit more detail in part one. So KL, I do endorse KL. I would encourage people to check out his course. I would remind you that he is dealing with cancer. So communication is the best. He may be slow at responding, which again is the reason why I want to make sure that we recorded his methods privately. Ann Vandersteel, I really like her as an individual. She's just stuck really far up Bobby Lawrence and David Straight's ass that she really can't see the truth that's right in front of her face. Myself and KL included have tried to reach out to her. And I thought I was sharing screen. Myself and KL have reached out to her to share information regarding David Straight, the information I shared on part one. So Ann has a lot of sense to her, but she's not thinking very clearly. Again, being stuck up people's asses, unfortunately, does blind you from seeing the truth. BB Backus, I really was impressed by her. She did offer to let me take her course. And when she offered it, this is something that people have been asking me, whether I took the course or not. When she offered me the course, I wasn't able to take it due to travel obligations. I had several different traveling things that was going to take me away from 3 of the 5 classes. I think it was 5. It was 5 or 6 classes. I have the paperwork from it. I haven't reviewed it. I need to get back in touch with BB and ask her when she's going to be doing her next class, and ask her if she can put me in that class and explain to her what had happened. I do encourage everybody to check out the interviews that I did with BB, but until I take the course myself, I personally can't vet it. Another video here at KL. This video, the Big Plantation, a friend of mine put this out several years ago and told me I could mirror the video on my channels. Be sure to check these out. This documentary, it's really informative. These are my 2 videos with Christopher James from Warrior Cause. I don't have anything negative to say with about Christopher James. He just seems to be kind of stuck in a certain spot and sticks with that, which is fine. It's just, unfortunately, after several years of him talking about trying to shut down courts and things to that effect, I haven't seen anything really come out of it. I haven't seen any progress, evidence, or proof that anything that he's claimed that he's going to do has been done. Unfortunately, he's a really intelligent guy. Eventually, I think that the truth will slap him in the face pretty hard if it hasn't already. I don't currently follow him, and I don't have any inclination to necessarily want to get him back on the show, because I don't really feel as if solutions are being provided. This is my interview with Dr. Frederick Graves about the Jurisdictionary How to Win in Court course. I definitely recommend that you check out the course. My 2 interviews with Mark Passio. He does not teach about the legal fiction, but he does have his opinions. And in the first interview that we did here, Ending Slavery, One Mind at a Time, we do talk about the legal fiction briefly. Pete Stone, he's a nice guy. I think if I can't remember if he charges for what he does. He's UK based. If he does charge for what he's doing, I can't bet it. But I do encourage you to check out the interview, use your discernment, use critical thinking. I did a video with Ethan Lucas a few months ago talking about the legal fiction, our thoughts about common law, trust law, contract law, private versus public, status correction, secured party creditor, UCC, Uniform Commercial Code, traveling versus driving, spiritual warfare. I reposted my interviews with Peter Wilson, my 2 original interviews, and then a 3rd interview. If he charges, now he's UK based. If he charges, I can't vet his stuff either. All I can tell you again is to do your own research. But the information that we talk about in these interviews are very valuable information, especially the first two. We go over the Vatican history, some Vatican history with the Unum Sanctums, with the different papal bulls. Very interesting. Then we have my interview with Crow 777. That was a really interesting interview. It includes some legal fiction stuff. My 3 original interviews with Alphonse Fagiolo, with my 4th one coming out a month ago. Alphonse, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Alphonse, a lot of what I've talked about, just mentioned, he doesn't believe. He calls it patriot mythology. Alphonse is an individual who learns everything from a legal court perspective, reads case law, understands precedent, and really fully goes into courts knowing how to communicate because he understands, fully comprehends how to operate in that system. So it's almost like being an attorney, but not being an attorney. Kind of weird. Dime Bar, who I do respect a lot, does say that he's vetted Peter Wilson, but I can't personally say that I vet Peter Wilson on the charge. And again, when it comes to charging for their services, I have no inclination of wanting to join some UK based group because I'm not in the UK. I need to focus on things in the United States, but I will support and try to interview people because I know there's people all over the world that watch my channels. And then obviously you can see I got part 1 and part 2 of this you can't handle my truth. So I'll take a moment here to go to the chat, and then I'm going to pull up some people's names and show some videos on my Odyssey channel. Dime Bar says Cheryl, yep, he done 2 weeks in jail. Robert is suing them now, I believe. Well, interesting. He's suing people because he was found guilty. Definitely avoid Mark, Rashawn, Christopher. Certainly intrigued by Kim's claims, but I have yet to see any kind of evidence that backs it up, and his behavior is not really what you would expect from people trying to help others. 100% agreed. Travis, I hope I answered your question, my friend. Dime Bar says Mark Passio is super cool, great information. Cheryl, Robert Michael said it was to be a workshop, not we were supposed to do paperwork. In other words, it was a speech, basically. Dime, I really do want to do this, but it takes more work. So until I get some help and people can help me upload stuff, I really don't think I can't add myself to more platforms, unfortunately. Ronnie, before I do any videos with Ethan, me and him had to deal with some personal things before I continue to do any videos with him, and he knows about this. I can't vet any of Ethan's teachings either. I have said this to Ethan several times. You know, when I met Ethan a few years ago, he seemed to just be getting into this. I'm not quite sure what is truth when I communicate with Ethan, and I will expand upon that on future episodes. I am hurt because I have considered Ethan a friend. I'm not saying that we're not friends. I'm saying that I'm trying to let my emotions kind of simmer down before I speak with him directly and deal with some of the information that I've obtained, especially since going down to Florida and meeting him in person for the very first time on the 31st of March. So with that being said, without saying too much, I'm not sure, like I did bring this up to Ethan. Ethan apparently is claiming to have 20 years experience in this legal fiction stuff. And when I first met him a few years ago, he was learning from Robert Michael. And he paid Robert Michael for some of his services. Now, if he had all this information from 20 years ago, why did he pay Robert Michael? And I've told him I'm not sure where this 20 years of experience came from. And based on some recent information, I really can't believe a lot that comes out of Ethan's mouth. And even when I did the videos with Ethan, if you want to double check me, go back to this video that I did with Ethan. right here exploring the legal fiction and see if I say I can't vet your teachings. And I will not vet his teachings. And at this time, I will not vet Ethan Lucas in any capacity until we're able to figure out what the problem is moving forward. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm sure this will get passed on to him. And I have messaged him. He has reached out to me to try to figure out when we can talk. I need to have a witness involved. That's how important this is I need to have a witness involved with the conversation. When writing to the government, I've always addressed them as the administrator and trustee, and as beneficiary. Trustees always pay. Trustees always have fiduciary responsibility. You always want to be the beneficiary, unless somebody hires you to be a trustee. Christopher James is at 1,700 plus on his live streams. Now he's lucky to get 400 peeps. Well, I mean, when you keep saying the same information for years and years and years, it's unfortunately people started getting tired of hearing stuff when they don't see anything come out of it. We've all learned the hard ways at times, Cheryl. Same here. Yeah, and that unfortunately is how I feel with Ethan. Frogsy, another out there who has done interviews is Gary Fraun, or Gary of the House of Fraun. He did an interview with John Cooper called Decoding the Language of the Occult. You're more than welcome to email me that information. Avatara, we presume we could take on the courts, the IRS, the banks, the world, and gain status as beneficiaries of the public trust after a weekend seminar. Money and the love of money is the root of all evil. 100%. I don't know that I would put genius in that category. Maybe insane, though. Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate. I do this. The reason I want a witness is from a Christian perspective. If you were going to call out your brother, you should have a witness. I believe I'm paraphrasing, but something to that effect. Yeah, Frogsy, again, if you have anybody you want me to check out, feel free to email me the information. I'd greatly appreciate it. So I got to pull up my videos for my reposts so I can go over the people that I have not reposted interviews of that I've interviewed. And then we could pull them up on Odyssey because they should be on Odyssey. Okay, so we have Anna von Reitz, who I've said I feel is controlled opposition, but at the same time, I'm not going to tell you not to watch the interviews that I've done with her. So if you would like to find them, you can find all these videos on odyssey.com/ricecrypto, or you can search for Rice TVX in the search bar. It'll pull up my channel. Anna von Reitz. So there is interview 1 and 2 with me and Stan Barabbas from Bodhisattva Love, and interview 3. 1, 2, 3. Anna von Reitz. If you guys would like to check those interviews out. The next person looking at this in alphabetical order is Cal Washington. 3 interviews with Cal Washington. The first one, I don't feel like we did good justice. So number 2 is kind of like a redo. And number 3 was us continuing on with the conversation. I really enjoyed talking with Cal. Cal's focus seems to be the notice of liabilities. I don't find a lot of validity in a notice of liability because it's just literally giving somebody notice. We've talked about it. I'm not saying that what he's saying doesn't have validity. But I definitely need to do some more digging, maybe revisit a new interview with Cal, but I don't have anything negative to say about Cal. I do encourage people to check out these interviews. So again, I'm just going to be telling people who I still endorse, who I don't endorse, and why. Next up on the list, going in the alphabetical order, is Clint Richardson. I like Clint. I definitely need to get him back on the show. We've done 5 shows together, one of which was broken up into 2 parts because, you can see we have long conversations. He wrote a book that I talk about on part 1. It's a book about the straw man, and it's a free book that you can get. It's like over 1,100 page PDF, but I do encourage you to, if you can afford to donate and help out his cause, because the book is available for free and it's over 1,100 pages of great information. I will be reposting the Cal Washington interviews, and I will be reposting the Clint Richardson interviews on Rice Against the Grain. I'm mixing in reposts along with new content. So Clint Richardson's good people. I definitely want to get him back on the show. He questions a lot of this stuff, and I appreciate the way that he questions things, because I think it's very important that we question things. And he definitely has a great perspective, and he's very much open to learning new things. So I will be reposting the Cal Washington. I will be reposting the Clint Richardson. I will not be reposting Anna Von Wright's interviews on Rice Against the Grain. You can find them on Odyssey, but I will not be, since I don't endorse her, I'm not going to be reposting those particular interviews. Next individual up for discussion. David Williams. So this guy's got a really interesting take. I love David Williams. I need to get him back on the show. Me and him have some great conversations. He's been studying the legal fiction for quite some time. He used to actually be friends and involved with Russell J. Gould. He was actually involved in a Supreme Court case that Russell J. Gould, David Wynn Miller, David Williams, and something like 18 other individuals or so with the Supreme Court case back in mid 2000s, somewhere around like 2004, 2005. He could tell you some information about Russell J. Gould from personal experiences. He is the, make sure I'm saying this right, his position. He is the ambassador for the Dominion of Melchizedek. They call it the Dom. And it's a micronation. And he's trying to get the nation to be recognized by other nations, because that's how you get international recognition. And he's also dealing with the right of self-determination. That is international law. Very important perspective when it comes to the law, but very, 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 very different from everybody else. But there's some things that he talks about and that he teaches that I'm going to try to communicate with him about ways of taking his research into another direction, moving it forward in the future. Let me go back to my files. All right, the next individual that we're going to be going over, Mr. Diener Wiener. Mr. Diener Wiener. Oh, I thought I got rid of these interviews from Matrix Freedom. I'm going to have to delete those. I thought I deleted them. I'm actually going to do it right now. Right now, as we're talking. Going to go to my Odyssey. Can't be having that full stuff on my channel. I do not support that fool in any way and cannot allow that to take place. So we got to get rid of that shit. That shit. Delete. Okay. And delete. Okay. So that's them too. Let's see what happens when I pull this back up. Let's come back over here and let's search for Dean Clifford again. Man, you guys have not gone away yet. What happens if I click on them? Damn it. They're supposed to be deleting. They'll be gone by the time this live stream is done. I promise you. Okay. Enough comedy for the moment. Dean Clifford, he's OG. He's actually one of the individuals that, damn. What do I need to do? He's one of the 10 teachers that KL actually recommends. Okay, I'm going to my uploads and making sure that these things are leaving. Let's try this again. It's very frustrating. I really don't want to see this dude's face. So Dean Clifford, somebody that I, again, support and endorse. He is one of the 10 teachers that KL has learned from and KL lists as somebody to check out. We have 3 different interviews, one of which includes Dean Clifford running for mayor of the local area that he lives in. Yes, I said that correctly. Dean Clifford ran for mayor. Didn't win, though. So the next up on the list, let's be clear that I do not support or endorse Ian Clifford's stamp, or matrix freedom in any capacity. KL, Russell J. Gould. Okay, so Russell J. Gould, what we have going on for Russell is most people should know that I do not support Russell J. Gould in any capacity. In my playlist section over on Odyssey, I have a Russell J. Gould Fool's Gold playlist that do include the first 2 interviews that me and Stan Barabbas did, where we try to give him an opportunity to prove himself after lying to people for 20 years. Then we had Russell J. Gould attacking my channel. I've had different members of the quantum grammar community with YouTube channels attack me and make videos against me, talking about my criminal record. I also put out an interview with Sergeant Robert Horton for the record, in case you guys haven't seen any of that. So if you know anybody who's drinking the quantum grammar Kool-Aid, who has been fooled and seduced by Russell J. Fool's Gould, please share this playlist with them, because this will cover a lot of information. The most important one is the interview that I did with Sergeant Robert Horton, because a lot of people think that Sergeant Robert Horton supports Russell J. Gould, and because there's not a lot of public information out there stating otherwise. But that is definitely the case, is that he does not support in any way. This is me going over information that was shared about the Sarge. Where is the interview? How far into this bad boy? So there we are. Sergeant Robert Horton. I call him a friend. I've had his number for quite some time. He's good friends with Pempy. They live in the same area, and it's a small world, because one of the things that Stan Barabbas had told me to check into was war castles. And as I meet Pempy, Pempy ends up working with Sergeant Robert Horton's wife. It's just such a small world about how things work out. So that's that with Russell J. Gould. Again, I do not support or endorse Russell J. Gould in any capacity. Continuing on. This is a UK-based channel. Dime, let me know what you think. It's SPLS Pro. I like David a lot. I'm not in the UK, so I have not signed up for their website. I don't know if they charge for what they're doing. There's 2 different interviews here with David Giamatti from SPLS Pro. You guys can check out. I'm not vetting if they charge for anything. I'm not vetting, but the information in these interviews is some good information, and definitely encourage you to check them out. And if you're UK based, definitely do your digging with all the UK based people that I'm sharing. Want to make sure that I'm being transparent with my thoughts with everybody. Next up, This guy was the Alphonse Fagiolo before there was an Alphonse Fagiolo. Carl Lentz. Definitely check out the interview with Carl Lentz. He's very much like Alphonse Fagiolo, very much against a lot of the Patriot mythology, but very knowledgeable when it comes to the legal system and law. Next up, All Unslaved. Check out the interview. I don't have a problem with him personally. I don't think he sells anything, but he doesn't have a lot of success with the things he's talked about. I haven't checked out his content recently, but when I seen I think it was up to 4 different interactions with police officers while he was driving or traveling, as he says. One of those instances, he was actually able to get out of trouble. So 25%, 1 out of 4, I don't consider to be a success rate, but he's learning. I'm learning. We're all learning. I'm not sure where he's at on his current path, but definitely check out the interview. If he is charging for anything, which I don't think he does. I'm not aware that he does, but I'm not vetting anything that he charges for. I'm pretty much not vetting anybody that's charging for things. I can vet them individually in my conversations with them, but as far as their services, what they charge, people need to use critical thinking, discernment, and they need to actually do their own research when it comes to this stuff. It's immensely important. Make sure you guys are signing up for my mailing list over at ricetvx.com. And if you want to get lifetime access to my website is being built, I got information scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And if you are enjoying this video, please, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. Okay. So who's next up? We don't have too much longer. Again, I will be doing a summary episode in a couple days, just kind of summarizing everything in a good, smooth fashion. I'll try to keep that to under an hour, considering that this one right now is, where are we at with time with this? We are an hour and 18 minutes roughly. So that already is 4 hours between part 1 and part 2. I will be coming back to the live chat. I see lots of chatter going on. I do appreciate you guys being in the live chat. I'm just going to go ahead and finish up with what's being said on the meat of today's video. And then we're going to be focusing on the live chat because I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time, which is our most valuable asset, to join me today. You got anything to share about any of the teachers that I've talked about today or any of the teachers I haven't talked about or groups, please comment in the video comment section on part 1 and or part 2 and share that information with the community and myself. I'd greatly appreciate it. So who's next up on the list? Got an Australian guy. Now, I can't vet his services. I've heard really good things about his services. I'm spelling this right. Look at me. Mark Patelik. He is Australian based for all you Aussies. If you live in on the land down under, if you're in Oz, check out Mark Patelik's interview. Again, I can't vet what he does, but I've heard nothing but good things from people regarding what is being offered on a level of education. Again, since I'm not in Australia, it doesn't really serve me to actually utilize and learn from their methods because I need to focus on the United States. Maybe once I get something done on my end, I can start looking at other things when I have a better comprehension. But I do like Mark Patelik. I do encourage you to check the interview out, especially if you're an Australian. And if you're Australian, make sure you're checking out Justinian Deception because that is a channel that I recommended on part 1. Who do we have up next? Up next. There is an interesting interview. This guy doesn't teach anything, but at least I don't think he does, but he has learned. He spent a lot of years learning. This guy, Greg Ward, with the Common Law Rights Society. I think he has a YouTube channel called the Common Law Rights Society, if I'm not mistaken. He was a friend of Robert Michaels. That's how we got introduced. And he's also into cryptocurrency, but he studies the legal fiction. It's not necessarily a teacher or a guru, but it is one of the videos I will be reposting. Anybody that I've said so far that I'm cool with, I will be reposting those interviews. Let me see. This doesn't 100% fit in the law category, but it kind of parallels because there is some law stuff mentioned. There is some law stuff mentioned. My interviews with Derek Bros from the Global Witness, but it's mainly stuff dealing with spiritual warfare, leaving Babylon. If you obviously, if you've been in legal fiction stuff, leaving Babylon has a lot of relevance and a lot of importance. So we have the interviews with Derek Bros, Global Witness. I think he's changed his channel name to Willing Witness, if I'm not mistaken. I definitely need to get back in touch with Derek Bros. But again, this isn't necessarily purely legal fiction, and a lot of it's spiritual aspect of it. So I still would encourage you guys to check those out. I will be reposting these interviews. Matthew Belair is another content creator that I know that's been doing interviews in this area. Let me see here. My cat's trying to get into my room. Because not all these videos are legal fiction. Here's another individual that I will recommend that people check out. I don't think he charges. If he does, I'm not vetting for his charging, but he has a really cool YouTube channel. Ao Chang with esoteric knowledge. This guy is really, really knowledgeable when it comes to etymology. Esoteric knowledge. Esoteric knowledge. Very nice, very humble guy. I don't think he charges, but if he does charge, I'm not vetting it. But you can check out his YouTube channel for free. If his channel hasn't been taken down, tell you what I'll do. Click on the video. Go to links. We'll open this up here. Okay, so he still has his channel. Esoteric Knowledge. My new channel, Revelation Knowledge. Okay, cool. So he's very spiritually oriented and talks a lot about words. Words and spirituality, the power of words, the secret power of a name. Why did you know attorneys are legalese players of the dead? Why words are spells? What is money? The secret and esoteric meaning of money. Pao Chang is really knowledgeable. I would like to get him back on the show. He's a peaceable, living, and spiritual man endowed by our Heavenly Father God with God-given rights. I think that's pretty much everybody that I've interviewed. I'm going to double check here. Oh, someone else that I will bring up real quick is it's a UK-based channel. Had some great conversations with Robert O'Deck from Observation Deck. I'm just not really sure what's going on with him in his head today. He recently interviewed John Smith from the common law courts in the UK. Some guy that I believe is playing make-believe. Another one of these grown-ups playing make-believe. He's got his own little court system that nobody recognizes, and he plays court with grown-up adult people. I understand that people had ordered common law IDs via this entity and never received their IDs and never received a return on the money. A couple of people had told me that they had to put in disputes with their credit card company. That's all I know about it. I did ask Robert why he's bringing them on the show, and basically Robert was telling me that he's not going to answer questions about people he decides to bring on his channel, which I respect. With that being said, I can't really say other than check out Observation Deck, the interviews that I did with Robert O'Deck, and check out his channel, but use discernment, use critical thinking, and always do your own research. If you're UK based, he's done a lot of good interviews with people in the UK. So I would definitely encourage you to make sure that you're checking that out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take an opportunity to see what we got going on with the live chat, and then we will wrap things up. I will be doing a summary video coming out probably on Wednesday. I'll be going live, just kind of putting all this in a concise manner without going into the detail of all the people that I've interviewed. I will go back over the people that I suggest you check out, the people that I absolutely do not endorse, the different types of teachers, different types of people learning about the legal fiction, what I'm doing moving forward. So stay tuned for the summary. We'll see what we got going on here with the rest of the chat, and then we're going to wrap things up. Again, if you have suggestions of people that you would like for me to interview or check out, I've got information scrolling across the screen that will include my email address. And also, if you want to become part of the fundraiser. Peter Wu, I really try to keep the content from my channel separated. Rice Against the Grain does not talk about anything economic or crypto related. I would encourage you, if you're not subscribed to Rice TVX, to make sure that you are subscribed to both of my channels. But I will say, just offhand, I'm a big fan of listening to Lynette Zang pretty much on a daily. I like George Gammon a lot. I also enjoy Greg Manarino. Those are three people that I would promote offhand that I think provide great information. Thank you for sharing that, Ronnie. I greatly appreciate. A1, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. One of my biggest issues too is the cursing, the foul language when we're doing the Spirituality of Law series. I understand his perspective, but I disagree. There's a time and a place. I don't generally sit there and use F-bombs in church. So, and not that it's church, but the language thing is something that's been rubbing me wrong for quite some time. And you can actually ask Ethan. I tried to end the series on episode 33. He wanted to continue doing it. I'm probably going to continue doing the series and invite different guests on at this point. Not saying that Ethan will never be on again, but at this point, I probably will continue the series with other people to get different perspectives about the spirituality of law. Stan did join up with Honor Von Wright in American States Assembly after the interviews that we did, and he is saying it's a complete joke, and he bases this on firsthand knowledge. Thank you for sharing that, Stan, and hopefully you're avoiding others from wasting time. Again, thanks for sharing your thoughts, A1. I can see that you don't like Ethan. It's all good. This I would agree with a lot of it. There's a lot of people in the space that are not good, that are definitely cons, but there are some really good ones in the space, and I did recommend them earlier, and I did recommend some of them on, or all of them on part 1. So Ken Cousins with Gemstone University, Pantera PCA, Yusuf L with High Frequency Radio, SPC University, Justinian Deception. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else right offhand that also the Passing Bucks website that I mentioned earlier. I will go ahead and do a quick screen share and share that website. I encourage you guys to dig deep into this one. This is a secret little nugget for you. And that's all we're going to say about that. Okay. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Ronnie. He definitely is very knowledgeable when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to the word. Frogsy, what's going on here? Cancel. Okay, Frogsy. All right, my email address right there, ricemediagroup@protonmail.com. You can see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen, ricemediagroup@protonmail.com. Moni Curie, but quantum grammar shows how the courts manipulate language to create presumptions and assumptions and avoid facts. That is where it shines. But I think it was created with an agenda, not to help others. I appreciate you saying that. I've said this before. I don't think quantum grammar itself is just bullshit. But the time it's going to take for someone to understand and fully comprehend the quantum grammar is an immense amount of time that a lot of individuals don't have. When you write out contracts, you can put your own definitions and things. You can make sure that you're being very clear with the language that you're using. You can define your own words, because if you don't define your words, then you're leaving your words up for interpretation. So you'll notice when you study United States code, there will say in their definition section, unless stated otherwise, this definition of this word means this. It's very, very specific. So there are ways to get around it without actually having to basically learn a completely new language that's almost babble and confusion, because half the people that are talking about the quantum grammar don't actually understand the parse syntax grammar and don't actually fully understand punctuations and such. Just my opinion, just sharing my thoughts. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Miss Ronnie. I appreciate. Bodhisattva says Cal Washington's work does not fall into the category of subject matter, legal fiction, so it cannot be considered as compatible. It's interesting you say that, but the notices of liability would be something that would fall in a legal law category. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but definitely feel free to clarify or hit me up and call me and let me know. Absolutely not. Ian Clifford steals information from other individuals and tries to call it his own without providing any proof of any of the claims that he makes, and he doesn't follow any of the methods himself. He said that in the interviews. I'm speaking of, let me go ahead real quick and make sure these fucking things are gone. And that's the time and the place to cuss, because I really want these fucking things to be gone. Oh, they look like they're gone. They look like they're gone. Dean Clifford. Yeah, don't waste your time with Ian Clifford and Matrix Freedom. Totally different. Actually, what I will say real quick, when I first interviewed Ian, he went by the name of Ian Stamp, which is his first and last name, his surname, Ian Stamp. When I did the second and third interview with him, he was calling himself Ian Clifford, which is his middle name. But I think he was trying to make himself sound like somebody that he wasn't. And he probably jacked a lot of things from both the Cliffords. So he had to pay homage to them since he stole a lot of their material. All Ian Clifford Matrix Freedom do is take what they consider to be a best of from other teachers and gurus, put it together in this little pot, try to sell it, but have no proof or evidence of any of it being legitimate, and don't follow the methods themselves. Everything that I'm saying to you, I'm saying based off personal experience. Again, just because I haven't done any of the processes or paperwork doesn't mean that I can't use critical thinking or discernment and see through the lies and see through the bullshit, because I was great at bullshitting people. I was a really good bullshitter. And being that I had such a good bullshitting past, bullshitters can see through other bullshitters' bullshit. I know it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of bulls. It's a lot of bullshit. But bullshitters can see through another bullshitter's bullshit. That's where the practice change path has taken place with me. These are my opinions. These are not endorsements. The people that I do endorse, again, are people like KL, people like Justinian Deception, people like Yusuf L. Always come to the table with clean hands. He who has clean hands can point the finger. I'm not 100% clean, but when it comes to what I'm talking about, I'm sharing my personal experience, my research, and my interviews that I've done for several years. So I'm coming at this with the best of intentions. Alphonse and jurisdictionary only focus on procedure within the legal fiction statutory admiralty construct, not the difference of public versus private. They're their own monkey club. Smart monkey club. Be a smart monkey. Dime Bar says Dean Clifford is a mix of David Williams, KL, and Alphonse. Interesting way of putting it. Just calling something quantum grammar sounds stupid. Yeah, well, it was originally called, back in the day, before all the new Kool-Aid drinking quantum grammar people got involved in that in Russell Fool's cult. They used to call the language under David Wynn Miller the truth. Stan can vet SPS, or excuse me, you said SPA. I thought you said SPC University. Never mind. Never mind. Thank you. All right, let me see what we got going on. Travis says Paul's not charging. Then sweet. I commend Paul for not charging. Saying quantum, don't know, probably BS. Jody Becker, mad respect for you, Rice. Much love for you and your work, as I feel I have watched you grow through all the scams and cons. Thank you. You helped me find KL and continue to help me find truth. Thank you for saying that. That means a great deal. It means a great deal. You head over to ricetvx.com. Make sure you sign up for my mailing list. I'm going to go through the rest of the comments, and then we're going to wrap up this live stream. I did put out a video today on Rice TVX that was from my presentation that I gave at the Crypto Mindset Reset 2. It's very similar to this presentations that I gave at Truthathon 3 and Truth Tour 3 with different variations, and I encourage you to check it out over on Rice TVX when this is done. Truth comes at a cost to those who lie. Well said. For every lie told incurs a debt to the truth. Sooner or later, the debt is paid in full. Sooner or later. Always film the cops. They'll always fuck up on procedure somewhere. I love you, Dime. And I agree, A1. Agreed. But try to avoid them. If you can't avoid them, film them. Indie Glow on YouTube. They're in good stuff. Do some. Indie Glow is the same as SPLS Pro. Same individuals. Thanks for sharing Matt Belair's channel, Dime Bar. Esoteric Knowledge. Pao Chang is cool people. Robert Odek has gone to La La Land. It seems like it. Babylon was a great city with the wizard of merchants and great banks either side of the river. Thank you for sharing, Keeman. Not sure how these grifters live with themselves. I'm not sure either. I love your idea to bring other perspectives into spirituality of law. Yeah, I think after this many episodes, I think it's about time. Rice, do you feel like an investigator doing your YouTube shows? No, just a journalist and researchers, I would look at it, but I guess investigation is part of journalism and researching. So, yeah. As far as the ones you recommended, I'll check them out, but I've seen all the law people. Have not seen all the law people. There's a lot out there, I'm telling you. The issue with the legal fiction persons is the majority do not do their own deep dives to attain the actual knowledge of the laws and how the commercial system works, hence public versus private. Stan knows his shit. So basic education is indeed needed. Most talk like they're not educated in grammar. I know in these chats it's not easy to be either. Yeah, I know. I'll say like obviously when I'm commenting on things, I don't always get good grammar in like a live chat, but when I'm texting people or sending people an instant message, I try to make sure that I'm using correct grammar, punctuation, spelling. I'm really big on that. I think it's really important. Noticing is different than law. Anyone can send a notice of liability. The administrative process is a totally different animal. Thanks, man. Public and private, blood and water do not mix. Thank you. Moni, I have not interviewed Romley from Just Sinning Deception. Right now, he's dealing with a lot of stuff in Australia. I'll share a little bit of a message that was sent to me. We've had a lot of communication over the years, but right now, I think he's not doing any interviews and he's not putting out any videos. One of the things you said, this is back at the end of November. Hey, Chris, thanks. I'm still alive and kicking, watching the shit unfold. I don't feel ready to speak just yet. However, Rohan has been free for a few months now and is feeling a lot better. However, he's under a gag order for another 5 years. So even though we talk, he is not to publish anything. He spent 25 months in remand being being a long time in prison to be offered a guilty plea to get out, or they delay the hearing for another 9 months. That's what's happening here in this land. Justice no longer exists. I was trying to find another one of these messages that what he says, I have people around that keep an eye on me and my daughter's lives in one of the units close to me. They are staying away from me, but as soon as I publish, I get the heat. Australia is just going through another problem in its elections yesterday. And this is another message. There is no writ of election in breach of the Australian Constitution that proves that Australian government is not the true constitutional government, just like what I've been saying for the last 10 years. But it's finally getting out to the public that there have been no election writ. Basically, what he's been dealing with is because of what's happening with him with pressure is he hasn't been putting out videos, and he's really fearful for what's taking place with the heat being put on him and his daughters and his family. So I do recommend people check out Justinian Deception for the foundational knowledge, and I'm trying to get them on. Try my best to get them on. Never been a good BSer. Was taught that you could see the lie on my face. Thank you, Mom. I'm not proud of saying that I was a good bullshitter, but I tried to turn that around. Instead of like using that skill to bullshit people, I can now see through other bullshitters' bullshit. Parsing syntax used in programming, interesting. If you believe the bull, you're saying it's easy to BS others. Shared his live stream in 4 places in Telegram. Got cussed out by one female who loves Russell's Gould. Shit. Yeah, the Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid drinkers, the cognitive dissonance. It's strong. One thing I think Cal Washington is short on is he's not claiming the instruments. No holder in due course status so they can claim the bills of exchange. Thanks for sharing, Stanley. Rice has been one of the most straight up honest guys on YouTube and in life. Even if I don't get a chance to meet you in person, I would like to. Thank you, A1. I appreciate that. And I may try to get some sort of an event where people can come out. I'm trying to figure out something where I can do a gathering and allow for viewers, subscribers, and such to join. So I do appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in. It did go a little bit longer than I was expected, but I think between part 1 and part 2, I was able to pretty much get everything off my chest. And I will say that after doing that live stream on Saturday, 2 hours and 40 minutes covering everything I covered, I definitely felt a weight being lifted off my shoulders. And even now, I still feel this weight lifted off my shoulders. Been holding a lot of this information back. I don't really want to make videos attacking other people and saying negative things about other people. But in this particular instance, on this particular subject, it just unfortunately is something that needs to be done. So I hope you found value in today's video. As a reminder, I do not support or endorse the following people: Russell J. Gould of the Quantum Grammar, David Strait and his state citizen national thing, Ian Clifford Stamp and Matrix Freedom. I do not support or endorse Robert Michael and the House of whatever he's calling it today. I refer to it as the House of Shit. Anna Von Rights or American States Assembly, Darren Clifford or Divergent. These individuals do not remain or act in honor. I cover that in full length on part 1 of this series. I will do one more video sharing a summary of everything that I went over in these past 2 videos that now total up to, I think now over 4 hours. If you've taken the time to watch all of part 1 and part 2, I appreciate you. I appreciate you finding what I do to be worth your time, to be able to offer your time for me to be able to share my thoughts, my experiences based off of years of research and interviews, dealing with these people one-on-one, having real communication with these individuals Cheryl, tell your Kool-Aid drinker, Quantum Grammar Cult member that Russell J. Gould is a fraud. Give her the playlist. Send the playlist to her directly on Telegram that I have on Odyssey. And as a reminder, it is linked in the video description. If you go over to the playlist section, you'll see Fool's Gold playlist, and you'll see the Dr. KL, aka Mr. Beneficiary playlist. If you want to invest time in yourself, watch all of the videos in the Dr. KL, aka Mr. Beneficiary series. If you haven't smashed that like button, I definitely encourage you to do so. The gate is small and narrow is the way, and you must go through the gate alone. In this instance, though, I don't walk alone. I always have Source walking with me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back for the summary of this episode in a couple days. Be sure to check out the video that I released today over on Rice TVX, and I'll show you that video real quick. This thumbnail right here, when enough people take a stand, Crypto Mindset Reset to presentation. See how many views I've gotten on this. Not even 100 views. Please take time to go over there. Also, catch up on my videos on Rice TVX. I am not getting a lot of views on the videos over there, so either you guys don't know I'm putting videos out or you don't care about the crypto content. If you don't care about the crypto content, it's all good. Last couple of weeks of videos that I've been putting out, low view count. So if you haven't watched the videos and you do appreciate that content, I would appreciate you taking time to make sure you subscribe to both channels, Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain. You can go to ricetvx.com, sign up for my mailing list. Once you do that, you will find links to both of my channels for my Patreon, my Rumble, my Odyssey channel, and my socials. So thank you again for joining me today. Getting ready to wrap this bad boy up. Part 2 of You Can't Handle My Truth. If you have not seen part number 1, make sure you check out part 1. Watch the entirety of this part 2. Stay tuned for the summary of part 3. Cheryl Williams, thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. Make it a beautiful day, fam. Get outside, touch grass. Be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be the glitch that you want to see in the matrix. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Represent. Set the example. And until next time, practice change.